want to catch up with you because you wrote another interesting piece on the Telegraph, and I'll put a link to it, and I'll put a screen grab up so you guys can see it there. You wrote about this new political party that Laurence Fox, who of course I've interviewed on this channel before, he's setting up a new political party. First of all, broadly, what do you make of this?
Well, I think anyone who sets up a new choice to the British people deserves a pat on the back and has shown great gumption. But, you know, you and I worked together back in the old days on UKIP. We know what a slog it is, don't we? Trying to build a party up, trying to offer a choice that the establishment parties don't like the idea of. They run a cosy cartel. So there are all kinds of hurdles, not least the electoral system, getting mass media coverage, the discipline of running a party, bringing through grassroots candidates, weeding out, shall we say, some of the more eccentric people who want to get on the bandwagon. You know, it's a really exhausting job, and the most important quality is stamina. And Laurence is obviously a political rookie, he'd probably admit that. So, you know, there's a few similar outfits out there. It's odds against, but I think it's an interesting development, and hopefully it will put pressure on the Tories to toughen up on sort of woke ID politics, culture war issues.
Yeah, now Fox seems to be leading the party. A lot of it seems to be focused on the culture wars, on the fight in terms of Britain's culture and heritage and things like this. You mentioned the funding he said to have already secured. What do you make of where we are, what sort of job the Conservative government is doing when it comes to cultural issues in this country?
Well, I think they've been pretty hopeless, you know, really flaccid, useless, reactive rather than proactive. You know, and it all started with the statue toppling and the defacing of Churchill's statue and the cenotaph as well in the summer, you know, and Boris Johnson was very slow to take on the BBC over last night of the proms. And there was a feeling, I think, of growing frustration among natural conservatives or just social conservatives, you know, at how lily-livered it all was. I think probably in the last 6 weeks, you'd say the government's beginning to muscle up a bit on these issues. And I assume they're getting polling focus groups, which is sort of indicating that this is a big area where people have been disappointed and they need to be more courageous. So we're seeing things like the various kind of great men of the media who look like they might take over broadcasting, being Paul Dacre, Charles Moore and Andrew Neil. Those would all be three terrific developments which would give people more of an outlet and more of a diversity of opinion. But I think the Tories have been very slow on the uptake, and we're right, I think, to be a bit cynical and a bit sceptical about, you know, how hard they'll fight in this territory.
Now, you say that your advice to Laurence Fox is actually quite simple. Get Nigel Farage securely on side and you may have half a chance. Could you just expand upon that point a bit, please?
Yeah, I think the point is that, you know, Nigel's playing his cards close to his chest. He's still got a massive subscriber base for the Brexit Party. He's got enormous social media reach. He's obviously been the person who most pushed the illegal crossings story and got mass attention for that. He has his media interests. We've got the Trump re-election thing about, you know, 6 weeks away or whatever it is. And we've got the Brexit post-transition deadline at the end of the year. So I would take it that Nigel is kind of sizing things up. And obviously there's more media opportunities potentially with new television news channels coming on stream, which might like to hear from him or might like to get him involved. So, you know, he's got all that side of things. I think if the Brexit thing really was a last minute betrayal, he'd be very inclined, my reading would be, to rebrand and restart the Brexit Party, take it out of mothballs. But if not, you know, we knew last time when we were working together in UKIP, at least there was this sort of home set of elections on our subject, and it provided UKIP and later the Brexit Party with, you know, a cadre of elected people taking on the government over, say, immigration policy or identity politics or law and order or, you know, anti-lockdown or wherever it might be. You know, there is no set of elections like that. All you're staring at is the first past the post electoral system and the broadcast media, who tend to to give their coverage based on the performance of a party at the last two general elections. And, you know, both of those are massive barriers to entry. So Nigel will know all that. The trouble with new startups is if Nigel decides he does want to enter the market, you get blown away, don't you? I mean, Laurence has got, I think it's less than 250,000 Twitter followers, which is still a big number, but Nigel's got 1.6 million. So I think Nigel's got at least another 18 months as the person with first dibs to create something to ride these currents of opinion. And so any other party that's starting up in this neck of the woods politically needs to go to him, find out what his thinking is. There's no point launching something and then 3 weeks later the Brexit party's rebranded and it's got, you know, 3 million quid behind it and a grassroots network and candidates and everything, and he's on every television station and on every newspaper. You're just going to get destroyed and forgotten. So that's the primary basis of saying to Laurence Fox, go and talk to him.
That was me speaking to Patrick O'Flynn. Great insight at some of the interview there for you on YouTube, but the full interview is going to go up on the Patreon page. Would really appreciate it if you would go and support Westminster on Patreon for that full interview. There's going to be lots more of exclusive stuff, videos going up on the Patreon. So do support Real News. Head over to the Westminster Patreon where you'll be able to get that full interview with Patrick O'Flynn.